grab a glass because today we're asking the question that ruins relationships.
Can guys and girls actually just be friends?
And even worse than that, is it okay to be friends with an ex?
It's going to get heated.
For those of you who don't know us already, my name's Lauren.
And my name's Hazel, and on today's episode, we are talking about the question that is always asked yet never answered. Right, so I'm going to say this now. 90% of male and female friendships are never just innocent.
That's a wild statistic.
It's not wild, it's realistic. I mean, if you asked him, would you sleep with her, given the chance? The answer isn't no.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that someone's necessarily plotting, though.
It doesn't, but attraction changes the dynamic, and you can't tell me it doesn't. Right, okay, so let me ask you this then. Can a friendship be platonic if attraction is one-sided?
Yeah. Point blank, yes. I have got quite a few male mates, and they are all like brothers to me. Like, I would genuinely run them over. In the nicest way possible. They get on my nerves. But I know that some of them in the past have had, I wouldn't say feelings, but like have had attraction towards me. And I've had it the other way around as well, where I've had attraction to them in the past. But it's always remained platonic because unless it's reciprocated, there's nothing to act on.
Yeah, I get that.
So would you say then that you think attraction can exist without it being inappropriate?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly no. I think it depends entirely on the dynamic of the relationship. I mean, I've got male friends, but there is no attraction there whatsoever, and that's because the dynamic is purely friendship. And it's not going to change, because I think once you've set the dynamic, once you've set kind of like the agenda of the relationship, you know, it's just purely friends. And I think if you've got friends that are in kind of, you know, similar lifestyles to you, like they're in relationships or they're in
situations,
stuff like that, I think it's not going to change, and there isn't going to be a reason why it changes unless the dynamic changes.
Yeah.
So, based off that then, would you be comfortable if your partner had an opposite... Hang on. So, say for example your boyfriend had a girl best friend and they told everything too. How would you feel about that?
Fine.
Would you?
Not a problem at all. It doesn't bother me because I wouldn't expect a partner to have a problem with me having a boy best friend. I mean, I've got a couple of lads that I'm particularly close to, and if someone said to me like, oh, it's me or them, I'd be like, all right, bye. Because you shouldn't like expect them to choose between the friends. I mean, they've been around longer than your partner has, and that might sound a bit horrible. Like, you, to a certain extent, you should put your partner first, but you shouldn't have to like cut mates off just because they don't like them or they're not comfortable with.
Yeah, I agree with that. However, call me soppy, call me a sop, but I tell my boyfriend literally everything that is going on with me. Everything, what I had for dinner, what colour socks I've got on, everything that is on my mind, I tell him. And I tell you. So, I think it depends what the conversation's like. I think, like, if I told you something that I hadn't told him, and then I think that's where it gets a little bit blurred, like the boundaries are getting tested a little bit then, because it's like, well, why don't you trust me enough to tell me the same information? And I get it depends on how long you've been with that. Like I wouldn't, like if I was a week into a relationship, I wouldn't be spilling every little secret about my life. However, a couple of years into a relationship, I'm at the same level I am with you. Like, I tell you the ins and outs of my day, and I tell him the ins and outs of my day. I think it depends on like the level of the relationship, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think the other thing as well is like the thing that would bother me is if they were running to the mates about the relationship.
Yes.
That would bother me a little bit. I mean, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I have done that with my mates, but only like with you. But I don't know. I think it depends. I think some things don't need to be shared but that's a conversation that you have with your partner. That's a boundary that you establish together and that you...
Yeah,
What's the other word for establish? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it is a boundary that you set in place, but I think it's such a difficult one to answer because it's like what you said, if you're running about the relationship, to me that's like advice on like what to do. Like I go to you for advice on how to handle situations. I go to you for advice on like, you know.
He does as well.
Yeah, and I think that's so normal to do that. But I think, you know, when you start, I think it would be different if I had a male best friend that I was telling all this to. And I think that's where it would get a little bit, you know, like, come on type of thing. I think that's where it gets a bit fuzzy if you've got like the opposite sex that you're running to every chance you get, you know, a bit of kind of like information or validation in a sense. So I think it would bother me if he went to a girl for like relationship advice and, you know, just stuff like that. It would bother me. However, I probably wouldn't say anything to him.
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? It's a bit of a delicate subject.
Yeah, I just sit there and, you know, give him like the side eye and say, hello.
So you wouldn't communicate then?
I'm lying, I totally would communicate.
I was going to say, because I was thinking, we were literally preaching communication a few weeks ago and now you're sat there going, no, I'd give him a side eye.
I'd give him a side eye and I'd communicate to him.
I know what you mean. I think it just depends on the circumstance. So, do you think that a friendship changes once you get a partner?
Yes. Yeah.
No shade.
No, of course not. Never. That stuck to the table. So it does change because when you get a relationship, not your priorities, but things flow differently. You need to factor in the other person into your schedule, and it can be very difficult sometimes. I understand it's been difficult on you as well. Yeah.
It's all right. I'm not a neglected puppy. It's all right. I'll let you off.
But I think you do become a little bit short-sighted when you get a relationship because you start prioritising them compared to everything else, and friendships can change. Thank God ours hasn't. Because...
Well, I like you a little bit less.
Do you actually? Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Anyway, yeah, you sort of prioritise them more without even knowing it, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just realising that. So dynamics can change in relationships. You can become a little bit distant. You can become, you know, a little bit MIA. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's realising it. And I think once you realise it, then you can start, you know, saying, oopsies, I'm so sorry that I cancelled on you 4 times because I was going on a date with him. You know what I mean? You can just take it from there, I think.
But it's a shiny new thing, isn't it? You kind of put all your effort into it because you want it to work. You know, especially if you've been single a long time, like my previous... Not so much my last relationship, maybe the one before that. It had been a while that I'd been single for. And I don't think I pushed you away, but I just kind of like didn't really... It wasn't that I didn't have time. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I was kind of like, oh my God, I want to see him every day.
You wanted to do stuff with him, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because I said to you, well, when I got a relationship, I was kind of prioritising him more than meeting up with you. So the scales are a little bit tipped, and you said to me, Hazel, just putting this out into the universe, this is what's happening. And then, yeah. And I said, oh my God, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I didn't even realise.
Well, I think the thing with me that was bothering me the most at the start was that you would like be texting him or like on the phone to him while we were together. And that time that we got this little picnic, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad, I'm just explaining how it can be. We had this little picnic and we went to go and see the sunrise, and then we missed it because you were on the phone the whole time. Which I don't hold it against either of you. I've let it go now. But
in the moment, it's frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it. I was sat there with my ice cream watching it.
It's the company, isn't it?
Yeah. But we all do it at some point, you know. It's something that you just don't really realise you're doing, or you don't care that you're doing, because this new person is the best thing in your life.
Yeah. And that was kind of a similar thing. So you told me and said, Hazel, this is what's happening. I feel like you're neglecting me a little bit, which is, you know, fine. And then the scales were tipped again when you got a relationship. And I'd booked a table at a restaurant for like a little mate date. Because I hadn't seen you like 2 weeks. And I said to you, Lauren, we're going for a meal. And you said, yeah, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. And then 2 days before you said, oh, he's booked a table. And I was like, right, okay. That's fine.
Technically, that wasn't my fault because I didn't realise, and then he told me like, a few days before, and I was like, oh. But I didn't want to like upset him and say, well, I can't because I've got plans. So I was like, okay.
But I said to you, that's absolutely fine. Go and spend time with him. That's not a problem, as long as we can, you know, rebook the meal. But it's all about that communication, and that's why friendships change when you get in a relationship, because the communication dies out, I think.
Yeah. So would you say that jealousy is natural, or would you say it was immature?
Immature. I think it's very immature. I think it comes with maturity, being able to do something and not have to give an explanation is maturity, I think. And I think that comes with experience and with age. What do you think?
I don't know. I used to be quite a jealous person, but not anymore. I'm just like not phased anymore.
You're just like Hakuna Matata, aren't you?
Huh?
Hakuna Matata.
Oh, I didn't know what you said. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was never jealous. I don't think I've ever been jealous of you. I don't mean that in a nasty way. I just mean that I'm always happy for you. So yeah, I suppose it can be immature, but I think, I don't know, it depends on the circumstance, because if it's like something that you've always wanted, sometimes maybe you can feel a bit jealous, and sometimes that might be natural. I think it just depends on the way that you were raised and the things that you had or didn't have. But yeah, I would say it is majoritively immature. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I would say it's a little bit immature, because you should be happy for the people that you love.
I think it comes from, I think jealousy spirals from kind of like a vindictive background, in a sense. I think you need that validation to kind of explain why you're jealous in the first instance. I think it comes from, you know, a place. Where am I going with this? I feel like it's like a vindictive thing, you know. I think,
I know what you mean. Like you kind of, it feels like they're not really wishing you well, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, I think we've probably both had people that have been jealous of us in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just kind of got to. If you're on the receiving end of the jealousy, you've just kind of got to. You can't. Oh my lord! You've got to like just kind of over your head
And go with the wind.
Go with the wind. Yeah, I think that's everything I've got to say on that.
Yeah, same. So let me ask you this then: do you think you can still be friends with an ex?
Personally, I'm not friends with any exes, but I am still in contact with a few people that I used to be quite close with, or like we almost got together. And I think as long as there was no bad blood, as long as there was nothing like wrong with either of you and you just sort of like drifted apart or whatever the circumstance, I don't see any reason why you can't be friends with them. You know, I mean, if two adults end maturely, why should you hate them?
I don't think it's about hate. I think it's about having access to them.
So you think you should delete them or block them then?
Put it this way: if I loved you, slept with you, planned a future, you don't get demoted to bestie. That's not how emotions work.
But I feel like that's ego though.
It's not ego, it's protecting your peace. And there must be a reason why you're not friends with any of your exes. And that's not ego, that is you protecting your peace.
Well, I mean, yeah, but if it's ended amicably enough, amicably?
I knew you were going to say that word.
Amicably. I'm
Amicably.
very posh today. Yeah, if it's ended on fairly good terms, then I don't see any reason why you shouldn't.
I understand that. I mean, I've had previous relationships end on sour terms and end on good terms. For the ones that end on good terms, I'm not in contact with them, but I do wish them all the best. I wish them, you know, all the happiness and in the future and whatnot. However, the ones that ended sourly, I do not wish them anything. And it sounds cynical. It sounds like I'm just being, you know, petty. However, me protecting my peace and protecting my emotions and myself, I don't care. I do not care what happens to them whatsoever, because it's not immaturity. It's not, you know, being egotistical. It is literally just focusing on you. And I imagine that your, you know, situationships that you've mentioned where you are still friends with them, they haven't ended on bad blood, whereas previous relationships have, and there's a reason, because that line has been crossed, boundaries have, you know, being stepped on, and things haven't ended the best. So you are just protecting your peace by not staying in contact with them.
I just don't feel anything for them anymore. You know, I mean, there's a one particular ex that if they contacted me again, I would probably get a restraining order. But I don't know, I think maybe I'm just, I wouldn't say a pushover, but like, I don't know, I just care about people too much to just like cut them out of my life. I mean, well, it depends, because sometimes I kind of just go, all right, you're done, see ya, and then never speak to someone again. But then there's a couple of people that I still think about from time to time and check in and, you know, you all right, how you doing? How's things? How's work?
I get that. Let me give you an example then. So, you were in a relationship, I think it was about 5 years ago now. You were with him for about a couple of months, about 6 months, I think. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
That ended horribly for you. If he were to message you and say, "Hi Lauren, how have you been? Long time no speak," what would your reaction be?
Well, he wouldn't be able to message me because he's blocked.
There you go.
But
there you go.
But
you have cut the access from him.
Yeah, but that was because it was sour. That was because I didn't ever want to speak to him again.
See, personally, I think you can't be friends with an ex. But from what you've said, it depends on how things have ended. I mean, I said it just then. I mean, some people I do wish all the best for, and some people I don't wish the best for. So I think it depends on how you end things. But I think you can't go from lover to friend. I think it's too painful. There's too many emotions. There's too many things that have been said and done. And I think to go backwards, when you've built something, you've built everything with someone, to then go back to square one where you are just friends, I think that's too painful. I couldn't do that. Could you?
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I could. I think, well, it depends how over it you are. Like, if you've had enough time to process it and you kind of think, yeah, it's fine, you know, things happen and that's the way that it is, then yeah, there's no problem with that. But if you still, okay, I'll put it this way, if you still harbour feelings for that person, if you still have it in your heart that you want to be with them, or like you still hope, like you're still hanging on to something, then no, I don't think it is a good idea to be friends. Obviously it's personal choice, but I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to be like close with them. I don't know, I think it depends.
But if you can't be close with them, how can you be friends? How can you still be friends and, you know, do friendly things like go out for coffee, you know, ask about each other's days and whatnot? I mean, we all have different definitions of friends and friendship and how to behave in friendships, but statistically it's, you know, it's conversations, you know, daily or bi-daily, and, you know, coffees, meetups, chats, calls. That is all communication that friends will have. And if you don't have that communication, then to me personally, I wouldn't class that as friendship. I class that as someone that I know, just an acquaintance.
You've got me over a barrel here. I've got a point to make. I haven't got the words for it. But I personally don't really have a problem with it. I think it just depends like how you feel about the situation, to be honest. I think that's the only way I can phrase it.
Yeah.
Based on what you personally know that these people will not know. Yeah, I don't know.
It depends on the circumstances, but ultimately, the cookie crumbles how it wants to crumble. Right, well, that concludes today's episode on Grab a Glass Podcast.
So, at the end of each episode, we have a segment called The Glass Moment, in which we take something from today's episode, something that's meant something to us.
So, my glass moment was learning that you can't really be friends with an ex, you just need to protect your peace.
I think mine is probably that boys and girls can actually just be friends.
So if this episode felt personal to you or you took any advice from it, then don't forget to like, follow and subscribe and tell us in the comments below what you want to see next time on Grab a Glass.
Well, our glasses are empty, so we'll see you next time on Grab a Glass.